right now. He's gonna have to bid. Oh, just a football.
Huge layout block. Unbelievable stuff on the front corner of the end zone.
Maybe just that boost of energy they needed.
Huge swing pass and a great grab there from Céad. In Limerick, where the wind has been swirly and the sun has been shining quite poorly, one's disc skills are vital for the GGM title. Will it be Relics or will it be Surly? Hello and welcome to the great Grand Masters final at the World Ultimate Club Championships 2022 here in Limerick, Ireland, hosted at the beautiful Limerick University campus. Thank you so much for hosting. I'm Troy Weston here in the commentator's booth with the ever-smiling and scintillating Gigi Morrison. Gigi, can you tell us about the two American teams who are playing for the title today?
Yes, this should be a really exciting matchup. Both of these teams having faced off against each other already. Surly having taken the game so far against Relics. Surly are currently undefeated in the tournament. But Relics are wanting to answer to that, their matchup earlier on in the tournament, ending in, if I can read my screen, 15-10 to Surly. And it is often said that it is much more difficult to beat a team the second time than it is the first. So Relics are going to have to answer a lot against this strong Surly side.
This is going to be a very exciting game. Surly from Minneapolis, who have never actually won a world's title but are thus far undefeated in this tournament, as Gigi was saying. And Relics, who have won 3 out of 4 of the previous national titles in the USA and have won the past 4 beach world championships, are the team to beat, or so I am told.
Yeah, so on paper, from their past, Relics are the favorites to win, but with Surly having been undefeated so far, it is anyone's game, and it should be an exciting matchup. The sun has finally come out in Limerick. You have just missed what was a huge rain shower, all of us having to shelter and cover the media equipment.
Relics starting on offense here in this first point. Vasquio centering the disc to Noonan. Surly putting down a tough D right away. Vasquio now on the sideline. Back to Noonan. Looks for the swing around, patiently awaits for something upfield from Switzer.
Surly so far doing really well in generating some flow and some offense. They're trying to use their quick, dicey handler passes.
Noonan. An arcing around, gaining some yards up the field with a big flick huck to the end zone, and this will be Deed on the play. Fantastic bid by the Surly player.
Yes, Surly identifying that an upwind hold could be extremely beneficial. You're then having to go downwind on defense. All it takes is one turn, and then it is game over. So fantastic effort from Surly.
That D was none other than Don Tom, whose stats have been raking up this tournament. Surly now bringing the disc back for what could be the first break of the game. Adams now with the disc on the sideline. Finds Tom. McCall now. McConville. McCall again on the sideline, little flip pass over top. Enright looking for a dump, finds Tom in the middle. Big shot, deep shot, a couple of players underneath that, and a huge layout bid by Cesario, but unfortunately that will not be completed. And so Relics have another chance to hold their starting offensive point.
Cesario being one of the hero players for the Surly side this morning. He raked in the stats. He was pivotal in their win, leading them to this final this afternoon in Limerick.
Switzer with a huge flick into the middle and big grab by Harder. A break will sail over the head of Tom and into the hands of Wagner. Little flip passes back and forth into the end zone. Relic just on the doorstep and punching it in for the score. And the first score of this great Grandmasters final has been made by Relics.
That is a huge hold for Relics. They know how important that could be in terms of swinging the momentum in this game. Surly now having to work upwind on the hold. But Relics on offense, they look so slick and confident. They were generating cuts for each other and trusting in each other. That just shows how much history that they have in this team. They have been a dominant power in the Great Grandmasters division. And as you mentioned earlier on, they have won 3 or 4 national titles as a team.
And Surly will now have the chance to capitalize on their O point. The wind kind of blowing sideways. It's a bit of a crosswind, I would say, on the pitch this afternoon.
And it has died down a fair bit. It's been coming and going. It's caused some teams a little bit of trouble. We saw in the Grandmaster Mixed final that was streamed earlier on, free and available to watch on the WFDF YouTube channel, that the teams were trading downwind for most of the game until Molasses Disaster were able to get a fantastic break. But I'll let you watch the rest of the game to see what the results were for that match.
10 Powers with that absolutely monster pull that just sails out the back of the end zone. So Surly will get to bring this up to the brick mark.
You can see him giving the disc a good wipe down. The discs for this tournament have been provided by Discraft, the world leader in disc sports.
Eichstadt. Relic putting down a tough defense, and that will be brought down, though, by John Hawk under a huge amount of pressure. Rydell now with the disc on the sideline. A bit of a miscommunication, and a bidding Surly player could not get underneath that, so that will be a turn. Relics with the disc. There was a call on the initial throw.
The players are having some sort of discussion. They are allowed to discuss with each other and the game advisors to come to a resolution of the play.
Relics, a huge break into the middle of the field, opening up that field. Akin back with the hammer over top. And we've got Glass just outside the end zone, dumps it back to Powers. A bit of a messy, swirling end zone from the Relics forces a turnover.
Huge block, and there has been an uncontested foul.
The game advisors in this game wearing a nice bright yellow instead of their regular green they've been wearing for most of the tournament.
The Game Advisor shirts also provided by VC Ultimate. They have been outfitting the world's best Ultimate players since 1998, including game advisors, volunteers, and media crew alike.
Disc is coming back to Fergie. Ridgely. So looks like the Surly players are sorting themselves out downfield, and they do in time for Hawk to get the disc to Alden. Back to Ridgely, an over-the-top pass. Alden again.
Alden has been huge for this Surly line. Again, we saw in the game earlier on, he played a pivotal role in maintaining possession and keeping the disc moving.
Dan Powers on that D, but an uncompleted pass again from the Relics line.
We're starting to see this back and forth in terms of turnovers. It's not looking very clean. It's starting to look scrappy. I can imagine it has a lot to do with tired legs. Obviously, both teams having played a game already this morning.
It is difficult to come out day 6 of a tournament, 6 days in a row of playing. Great Grandmasters level. I just have nothing but respect for all these players here. Powers with the disc. Surly putting down a stifling D, but it will be caught in the end zone. Relics with another score and a first break of the game.
Yeah, that was a high stall count. I would call it a Hail Mary, but that was a calculated Hail Mary. It sat really well into the end zone. Thankfully, there was a receiver already cutting into that space. That was probably maybe stall 8 coming into stall 9. You can see Powers trying to fake almost through the legs of the defender, looking for options, but the dump was completely shut down, and then that backhand is so well weighted. Doesn't need to focus on towing in on the sideline, giving Relics another score. And the first break at the point of the game.
It's so important in these games to get a break really early. Just get on top of the other team, force them to be the ones to have to pick up and catch up to you, climb that hill.
So Surly, having been originally based in and around Minnesota. One little thing, I had a chat with some of them this morning. They were discussing about the fact that a lot of them didn't have any kit before actually arriving in Limerick. Their luggage got lost, so they had to drive all the way down to Cork, which is the very south end of Ireland, to receive their luggage. Again, that was about 2 days ago. But they're now able to play in this final with their own kit.
Alden. Big forehand huck to the end zone. Looking for Anderson, finds him, and Surly with the answer. But it may come back. No, we are calling it a point. It is good. Score is 2-1 for Relic.
That is a connection that we will be seeing quite a lot. A lot of players are still standing around, maybe having some discussions. You get to see that throw again, just stepping out. Huge power flick. And finding receiver in the end zone, well towed in, and that score will stand. A hold for Surly.
That around flick, so nice to get a pinpoint on that, going right around that defender. So the defender really having no play on that at all, since that angle is just so well put.
So for anyone watching at home, please do make sure you let us know in the comments that you are around. You can either speak to us in the YouTube comments of the stream, or you can reach us on social media. So my personal handle is _GG17, that's GWGW17.
And mine is at TroeW, so TROEW.
And we do try to respond to people as much as possible, but obviously we sometimes can't. And these streams are provided by the World Flying Disc Federation. So WFDF is the International Sports Federation responsible for world governance of flying disc sports, including ultimate, beach ultimate, disc golf, freestyle, guts, and individual events. Thankfully, you are watching Ultimate Frisbee today. It is at least my personal favorite iteration of disc sports.
Mine too. Surly putting down a zone look on Relics offense, trying to stifle them. They are losing yards. A huge hammer over the top may just gain them the yards they need. It does. Vasquio now. And Seal. Another big hammer from Seal, this time slightly more contested, but that will be brought down again by Wagner just outside the end zone. Relics punch it in. No, they don't. I spoke too soon. Unfortunate turnover there, unforced error, and Surly will have a chance for their first break.
Yeah, maybe some adrenaline flowing through the bloodstreams, trying to punch in that score as quickly as possible. We just saw two huge hammers. That was almost picked off the top as well. And wanting to get that right into the end zone, that zone picked off exactly what it was trying to do, getting the big overhead shots.
Cesario with the disc in the middle for Surly. Gained a few yards, McCall. Surly actually working quite patiently up the field with their D-line now. Fensky. McConville. Centers it to Enright. And McCall now just inside the brick mark. Cesario looking, finds McCall, goes for the give-go. McCall opts to shoot an inside pass, and it is caught by a tumbling Fensky. Surly with the break. A break apiece makes this a tie game at 2-2.
Yeah, incredible work from Surly. You can see how experienced these players are. They're not afraid to take on those break shots, and that is exactly what has made the difference for them. They're able to sit the disc out when it needs to sit, but also when you've got that dicey, really quick, zippy throw that you need, it sits right into the chest of the receiver. Cesario, again, dictating everything there. That beautiful backhand into the front corner of the end zone, just having to tiptoe the front end zone line.
And that is a very smart starting position from Fensky. The stack really lining up on the open side. It allows you to push your defender just ever so slightly further to the open side. And then when you start to cut to the break side, really it's just an open pass, an open side throw that you have to worry about. And it just makes it so easy for the throw.
So Surly do have the downwind advantage. This could swing the game into a completely different direction to how it's gone so far after Relics having gone 2-0 up.
Already proving to be a good grind of a game. A rolling pull out the back corner of the end zone. It does not get much better than that.
And into the forbidden trench behind pitch 11. This trench has eaten up a lot of frisbees so far this tournament.
Yes, I think there's some thistles back there that I actually took pictures of earlier. Quite pretty, but quite prickly and deadly if you have to actually go in them.
I believe thistles are edible, so I'm not sure if they are deadly. I can't remember.
I just meant like in terms of scratching your skin, maybe not deadly, but painful.
Our definition of deadly is very different.
Well, at least we're not in Australia. Deadly bugs. I'm always afraid of that. Sorry to all you Aussies watching. I'm just terrified of bugs. Seal with the disc. Back to Noonan and a nice swing around. Relic just slowly trying to work that Surly zone defense. It was a nice shimmy to the break through the cup to get that disc moving up. Surly managed to contain Vasquio. Diving catch, the disc will be kept alive. Vasquio finding a hole in the cup. Surly really pushing that disc to the sideline, which I'm told was their goal. Whoa, what was that?
So that was the number 36 of Adams getting the block. Don Tom throwing it back to Adams, it bouncing off Adams and then into the hands again of Don Tom. That is legit under WFDF rules. As long as it bounces off somebody else, you are allowed to catch your own disc. And it looks like it's up.
It does look like it's up from the camera, and it looks like we have some of the Relics player coming over to look at the replay, which the players are allowed to do. And even with the replay, they're still arguing about whether it is up or down. So the argument is not whether the double catch was allowed bouncing off the player. It's actually whether the disc was on the ground, touching the ground when he had possession of it, it looks like. So it is a close call. It is difficult to tell, even on the screen here. And it will be called up. It was very close. I do agree. I think it was up.
That was incredible. I love that kind of gameplay. Although, is it contested?
No, there was also a travel called on the throw, so it will go back regardless.
That makes everything redundant.
Oh, never mind. It will stay. Perhaps the travel was retracted. So Don Tom with the disc coming in for Surly. Surly working the disc up nicely. Grace finds O'Toole, looking for an end zone score here, and finding a break to Don Tom. Surly with the score, 3-2.
Incredible work from Surly. That was, I'm almost speechless. They tried to set up a zone in order to slow down Relics, and it did just exactly that. It was quite an aggressive set, staying really close around the handlers, forcing those overhead shots or even the jinky throws through the center, and then Adams getting the block, making sure that it was down to the turf, having to then try and recollect it from Don Tom, but it bouncing off and then Tom picking up his own disc. That was incredible.
And we do have a timeout call, so while the players take a minute to recollect themselves and the rain starts to come down again, we'll take a short break. And we are back with the Great Grandmasters final here at the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. Surly pulling the disc to Relic. Surly up right now, 3-2, and also up a break. Bryant with the disc on the sideline for Relic. And a pick is called downfield. And the rain is pouring now. Bryant dumps it around to Switzer. And another pick. Players reset.
Thank you.
Noonan up to Switzer. And a diving catch by Anthony Wagner in the end zone, and the Relics hold their offensive point.
Yeah, nice and easy from Relics coming out of the timeout there. You can see we've had to switch everything up. The conditions getting very tricky. And Relics with the super safe hands. You get to see how comfortable they are moving this disc down into the end zone, having to go to the knees, but strong retention of that disc.
So I was speaking to one of the Relics players before the game because they had previously played Surly and lost 15-10. So I was asking if they were going to do anything different potentially this game. So they chatted about how Surly liked the little dinky passes and they want to take that away. So they're going to be trying to force middle and then take away the inside breaks. Holy the rain.
It is very much sideways, and it is a strong downpour.
Rydell with a big gainer up the field to Hawk. But it will be a turn. A little bit of a slippery disc there, perhaps. Edwards. Stewart up the sideline. And a nice find across the field to Francis.
There was a strong attack on the disc, and Surly's match defense proves to be effective.
Swirling pass, Anderson knocks it out of the air before any of the Relic players have a chance to get onto that. Eichstadt to pick up. Ridgely. But there is a call on the play, so it may go back. No, it will stay with Ridgely.
Yeah, it didn't look like that call had affected play at all.
High release backhand, a Grandmaster favorite. Eichstadt and Ridgely playing a bit give and go before it swings open to the other side. Rydell now. Back to Ridgely. Ridgely having eyes for the end zone, finding Thurigay for the score from Surly.
Yeah, Surly hold going downwind. That is extremely advantageous for them. If they can keep up this momentum and keep this swing going, it could take the game for them. But we've seen Relics work upwind already. You just get to see Surly moving down the sideline. Fantastic leading shot into the front of the end zone. Defensive bid, but not quite enough. The score is 4-3 to Surly. They have faced up against each other before, as we mentioned earlier on. Surly being the victor in that game. But otherwise, both teams undefeated.
I believe are we back on serve now? I believe we're back on serve with 2 breaks apiece. ever so grateful at the moment that we are standing underneath the tent, Gigi.
Yes, this rain is unforgiving. It will not let you make any sort of mistakes. We see a sliding Relics player trying to stop that roly pull. Why not in this rain?
Might as well get your jersey a bit dirty. Bryant with the disc on the sideline. Swinging it into Vasquio. Noonan. A little bit of a cloggy dump cutting situation from Relics, but Bryant will find the disc. Seal. End zone shot to Vasquio for the score and the hold.
Vasquio with this casual catch in the end zone. These conditions make it so tricky to catch and make it completely assured. You're having to think for that extra second. And especially when you've got the wind and the rain. But Vasquio was so calm and collected on that one. And Relics with a completely clean hold downwind. Easy does it. Nice one from Relics. And again, thank you very much to everyone who is tuning in on the WFDF YouTube channel. We are keeping an eye on the live chat.
Just take a minute to thank our sponsors, The Greatest Bag, VC Apparel, Discraft, and Friction Gloves. All have come in quite handy during this tournament.
The rain is only getting heavier now, starting to leak into the media tent, but we are in a much more favorable position than the players.
Dan Powers with that pull for Relic, who would like to say hello, a quick hello to his wife Sally and his two girls, Chelsea and Alex. So hello, wherever you are watching, hopefully not in this rain. Eichstadt, and a jumping catch from Fergay. Oh, great pressure there from the defense, but that will be kept alive by Surly. John Hawk now.
Excuse me, can you move?
And there was some movement with the disc. We see Surly now. Fergay. Through a bidding defensive player, Alden. Relics just all over this D, really trying to put the pressure on Surly, and a hand block will be called back on a foul.
This game is so intense. Eichstadt having to bid and save the disc. And then the Relics defender, emphatic in terms of getting the hand block, but there is some discussion as to whether there was a foul or not.
So one of the cooler heads trying to get in between the players. Do understand when you make a call, especially in a final and heated game like this, it can get a bit challenging to just be calm and discuss the call or the contest calmly, but luckily you have teammates there to help you out in situations like that. And you also have the game advisors who can step in, provide clarification on the rules, or even sometimes an opinion of what they saw. Of course, it is still up to the players involved in the call to make a final call. Gigi, do you know how many countries are a part of the WFDF Federation?
There are over 103 countries involved within WFDF. but there are 107 member associations. So that, under that assumption, there are multiple member associations within some countries.
Massive. It's just growing bigger and bigger. I believe it had to get to a certain number, like 75 or something, to be recognized by the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, which it is now.
Yeah, that happened in 2017. I remember commentating at Beach Worlds, and the WFDF members were extremely happy that they had reached their 75th nation that was now involved under WFDF, could be officially recognized by the IOC, IPC, other committees that are also involved in huge sporting events such as the Olympics.
That was a pretty big year for WFDF for sure. So it looks like the players are just discussing now a little bit as to where, when, how many stall counts maybe the disc is coming in. It does look like it's going to come in again with Eichstatt, so a foul contest is what I can assume to be the call.
Yeah, they do have a set amount of time that they should be discussing calls in. And that is dictated by both the game advisors and the volunteers, who have whistles.
And Surly will punch that one in for the score. I can only imagine Relic is probably not too happy about that one.
Yeah, quite a few stoppages that led up to that score, so I can understand why everyone is staying relatively quiet, not necessarily celebrating, but both the sidelines wanting to cool off. Shouldn't be too difficult in this rain. It is getting very cold.
We'll take another look at that play here. Nice and patient pass, waiting for that end zone to open up.
So as this rain comes thundering down, Surly are having to reassess themselves, figure out what tactics they're going to use as they move upwind. Relics are more in the more beneficial and advantageous position going downwind. Is down rain a thing?
Down rain?
As in they're moving in the direction the
yeah.
rain is moving? I don't know.
But we are on serve still, both teams with 2 breaks apiece. So at this point in the game, it is anyone's gold medal. Pull is up. Lands just in bounds on the sideline. Great pull. Vasquio now with the disc. Finds Noonan. And a nice swing to gain yards up to Hurd. Schweitzer now with the disc just outside the end zone. A cheeky little push pass up to Vasquio and flips it in to Noonan for the score. And another hold.
Vasquio is key for the Relics hold. This is the second time I've seen him not clap catch. Probably a safer option to do so.
Teams now trading back and forth for the past 8 points. So both teams really seeking out another break.
And if you're wanting to have a look at some of the other matches that we have going on today, we do have the Masters Open semi-final being streamed on pitch 3 currently. That is Voltron versus Is No Good. Voltron being from the USA, Is No Good from France. Noisy-le-Sec just outside of Paris. So it's fantastic to see some European representation in one of the semi-finals. But of course, we do love having you here in this Grandmasters final. Great Grandmasters final, apologies.
Edwards with the pull. That will sail out of bounds, upwind, difficult pull situation. And if you missed the game that was just on before this, we had Molasses Disaster facing off against Surly in the Grandmasters Mixed Final. I will not spoil for you who won that game in case you haven't seen it yet. Definitely one to check out, though. Surly being in all, an iteration of Surly being in all 3 finals today, so quite a strong club.
Yeah, whenever I'm put onto a Surly game, I have to rethink. Have I covered this team before? Oh no, it's just another team.
And a great diving bid by John Hawk, but could not keep it up. Relic now with a chance to break. Lawrence. And a bobbled disc from Relic as well. Surly get the disc back.
Yeah, that almost looked like he was considering the next pass before he had even caught the disc, not aligning his hands properly enough.
Alden. John Hawk back to Alden. And a jumping score into the end zone for Eichstadt. Another hold. This looks like it may turn into a game of holds. 5-5.
It's not something we haven't seen before. We have seen a couple of games on this pitch in particular, just switching back and forth between the two. Maybe a break here or there, but it's almost predictable at this point. But Surly, so clean and clinical. You can tell that they have trained together for so long, and Alden, again, a name that we will be saying over and over again, getting the assist.
Both teams just coming out pretty strong in this game so far. There's been a couple of bobbles, a couple of drops, but mostly holds for the most part, and that is kind of what you'd like to see in a finals game. It's always nice to have a close game, really contentious points happening all the way along.
Yeah, you have two trains of thought. You have multiple routes to an exciting match. You either have a really close battle between two teams that are wanting to grind it out and it's really fun, or you have an absolute blowout that you're just like, yeah! I love seeing teams get destroyed sometimes.
As long as you're not on the team that's getting destroyed.
True.
Noonan now with the disc for Relics on the sideline. Looking for a break, but lots of reset passes, all kind of cutting into the same area, just not making it really easy for Noonan.
We do have Sheese wide open on the other side of the pitch from the disc. But that overhead shot is quite risky. And
Well,
it's
Noonan
taken.
It is caught by Bryant instead, but it's still kept alive. Now Swice gets it. A tumble catch will be kept alive. Vasquio finding a running Switzer into the end zone.
Surly having to switch up their defense. We did see them start off this game with that FSU aggressive zone. They're wanting to generate those overhead shots so they can be quite aggressive and push through and force those errors. But Relics able to generate quite clean offense in the end. A couple of bids, but just down the line, pop into the end zone. Nice and easy. So 6 apiece. We are probably going to reach the points cap for half before we do the time cap. Time cap being at 55 minutes, so that means we have just over 13 minutes of game time-ish.
If we don't reach the time cap, halftime is at 8. So games to 15, we go just slightly past the halfway mark for our halftime. Right at this moment in time, it could be anyone's game to take half. If they stay on serve, it will be Surly. If Relics get another break, it will be Relics.
And a huge gust of wind has started to come through, but will it affect this Relics pull? It does not seem to. Earlier this morning we saw a lot of rolling pulls on this pitch, and then they were gaining a fair amount of yards.
Eichstadt. Relic putting down quite a stifling defense, making it difficult for Eichstadt to find a reset. And it looks like there will be a call on the mark. Already a bit of a heated game between these two great Grand Masters teams, who are probably no strangers to playing one another since they are both hailing from the US.
Yes, you can tell how much each team wants this win, wants to take this half at least, and maybe wants to get into the dry.
Players discussing it's always good to check with your fellow defenders if they are ready before you tap it in. Alden. Back to Eichstadt. Wants the deep shot but doesn't take it. Opts for the safer option of resetting the disc. And Relics defense pushing Surly back causes a turnover. So Relics with another chance to break.
With a high release backhand, caught the wind at the wrong time. It sunk down into the ground.
Powers finds a Vasquio up the line. And a big, huge bid from Eichstadt will get the disc back for Surly. Big, huge backhand to the end zone. It will not be brought down. It just sails too far for Alden to get there.
Alden is speedy, but that disc was a lot to ask of him.
If nothing else, this does gain Surly a little bit of field position. So if they can stop Relics here from coming too far up the field, it may still be advantageous, but Relics do have a chance for a break. And that is a bubble disc on the layout bid. So Surly, in fact, do gain the field position that they were looking for with that huck.
Yeah, exactly as you said, a tactic for them is probably just wanting to send it deep, get it as far away from a Relic's advantageous position as possible, and it pays off.
Alden with the score for Surly, and another hold. Surly 1 point away from taking half in this great Grand Masters final matchup versus Relics USA, who are on serve but still need a break.
You can see some of the players having a discussion. It's good to see that spirit of the game is still a pivotal part of the sport. Let's get another quick look at the score. Casually walks up to the front line. Alden takes that break side cut, and it is used comfortably.
Yeah, they tell you as a handler, you either walk to the disc to allow your teammates to set up around you, so walk, take your time, or you run, which means you're looking for that quick break throw somewhere using the quick turn as an advantage. You never jog as a handler to the disc. Walk or run, and that is it. Enright with the pull for Surly.
I would love to see a rolling pull at this point. I think it's needed.
They're always a little bit more fun.
But they could also go very wrong. At least if the disc goes out of bounds on a floaty pull, it's more than likely going to be a brick.
Oh, unfortunately, you don't get your wish, Gigi, but that is a nice floaty pass. Vasquio. Trying to find a hole through the Surly Cup. Oh, a bubble disc from Relics. That's an unfortunate drop. Surly super close to the end zone line. Chance to break to take half here. Conville. O'Toole now with the disc. Grace. Back to O'Toole. And a score and a break from Surly. That is a huge, huge break in this final matchup against Surly and Relics. Surly take half 8-6.
That is the power of the pressure D. Relics were moving the disc extremely well between each other around this zone, but when you've got a defender on your back shoulder moving in really quickly and you're wanting to attack, you've got that extra element of pressure, and it did cause and generate the turnover. And then Surly, smooth and slick, nice and simple, working it up to the end zone, just keeping it simple, and they've now taken half, giving themselves a nice reward moving into the second half.
Absolutely. A well-earned, much-needed break from Surly over Relics. Relics down 1 break and 2 points coming out of the half, and we will see that second half of that game right after this 5-minute break from our sponsors.
Right now, he's gonna have to bid. Just a football.
Huge layout block. Unbelievable stuff on the front corner of the end zone.
Maybe just that boost of energy they needed.
Huge swing pass and a great grab there from Steer. And we are back with the Great Grand Masters final here at the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships in not so sunny Limerick. We have Surly GGM versus Relics. Surly are up 8-6 and up 1 break. Now getting to start on offense. An interception layout grab. That was huge for Relics. This could be their chance to get the break they need. Lars Fjellstad with that D.
Yeah, Lars came up to us at the start of the game just to make sure that we could pronounce his name properly, and thankfully he did, because we're having to mention his name now. Fjellstad coming in with that huge layout block.
So important and right on the Surly end zone line. And a flip pass into the score for Fascio. Relics with the break right out of half.
It's a fantastic start for Relics coming into the second half. Should give them a good deal of energy. Hopefully they can transition that into another break, but they are having to move upwind after this. So while Surly probably do have their heads down, hoping that they would have been able to generate another break to widen the margin, they are still in the better position, having taken an extra break over Relics, as we get to see that block from Fjellstad again. Really fantastic awareness on pitch. And then a quick pass over the top to Vasquio. So it looks like Relics have got the same, or at least an extremely similar D-line.
They need another break here in order to even the score out. Winner of this game, of course, taking home the gold medal and the title of world champions.
Thank you very much to everyone who is tuning in from the World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel. We will be streaming all of the finals live from the WFDF YouTube. We are keeping an eye on the comments as well, so please do say hi. Let us know if you're watching from home. Who are you supporting? What do you think the scoreline is going to be? Let us know in the comments.
Eichstad with the disc for Surly. First couple of downfield options taken away, but he finds a yard gainer up the field. A big arcing backhand to the end zone, and that will be caught and brought down for the score by Paul Anderson.
Was that a break side, an inside out backhand? That looked magnificent. If that was an inside break backhand, I want him to teach me how to throw something like that, because that was ridiculous. And again, that just gives absolute credit to the level of experience that these players have. We just get another look at that one. Fantastic grab in a really good power position. I was wrong. It's a lefty backhand, but still impressive nonetheless. Sitting onto the break side, that is exactly where you want Hucks to be able to sit onto, because obviously if your defender is doing their job correctly, they should be marking out the open side. And so if you've got the disc floating over towards the break side shoulder, then they're able to reach and collect that effectively.
Surly now up 9-7 on Relic. They must have been up more than one break, as I was saying, out of half. Since now it will be, yeah, Relics would need 2 breaks in order to get back on serve from before. Myself misreading the stats. I do apologize. Sometimes it's difficult to look at everything all at once.
Yeah, you've got a lot to concentrate on.
But Relics now bringing up the disc. Vasquio nearly dropping the disc on a fake, but manages to hold on to it. That was a close one, but it will be a turn. The wind just turning that over in the air. Not enough spin on that disc. Surly with the chance for another break.
I don't think I've seen that before. Almost getting a turnover from your own fake.
Cesario. Rutledge. Surly moving the disc around nicely from side to side. Looks like they're working a bit of a vertical stack, but that will be a foul on the throw, I think. So that will come back to Enright.
I was going to say that was quite a low disc, hitting multiple blades of grass before even reaching the receiver.
Oh, a miscue between the Surly players. Relics O-line gets this back. Bryant with the catch under pressure. Nice pass to open up the field, and a bidding Surly player nearly gets the D. Schweiss hanging on to it. Vasquio again outside the end zone. Seal.
He rose with that disc beautifully. I would say soaring like a seal, but I don't think seals soar.
No, they bark. Trying to find something downfield. Can't manage to do it with that stifling Surly defense on them. And that will be a chance for Surly. But another missed throw. No call on those bodies underneath it. Relic, O-line again with the chance. Schweitzer. Noonan. And up the line to Vasquio. And another up the line shot into the end zone. Relics with the hold despite the multiple turnovers at that point.
We're starting to see some tired legs. Obviously, all of these players have been playing previously for the past 5 days. They both had a game already this morning, so it must be exhausting. And then when you've got the extra factor, just as I'm saying it, the rain gets heavier, the extra factor of the Limerick conditions. It is windy, it is rainy, it is colder than you'd want for July. But Relics able to maintain their composure, working it into the end zone for the score. And that high release backhand that has been so useful on this pitch. This closer sideline to the cameras is what is considered the low side. So even though we do have an upwind, downwind, it is more of a crosswind. So that high release backhand is going to have to be floated up nicely so it can sit into the receiver's hands.
Relics here looking for their second break out of this half. And Alan Harder with that pull. A nice poach from Harder blocks off that initial look upfield, but a second one found to John Hawk. Ridgely. A bobbling disc. It doesn't look like Dom Tong could hang on to that one. So Relics will have the chance they want for that second break.
Tom has had previously some extremely safe hands. We saw him catch his own disc earlier on in this game, but not able to maintain possession of that.
Lawrence looking to get it off the sideline. Hucks it down the side. Beautifully put pass. Joe Stewart. There's your IO backhand, Gigi. For the break and the score to Daniel Francis.
Thank you very much, Relics. That is what I was looking for. Somebody teach me how to throw like that, but that was incredible. Relics with the break that they needed. That should put them in a fantastic position. They are now working in the downwind. We get another look at that. Stewart with the fake. Inside backhand shot. And the number 4 shirt of Harder with the IO backhand. Safe reception from Francis. Fantastic work from Relics.
That is actually my favorite throw, the IO backhand huck. So much fun. And there will be a timeout from Surly called, so we'll just take a quick break and be right back with the end of this final matchup. And we are back. Surly GGM versus Relics. Also GGM Great Grand Masters final in the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. The winner of this game will get to take home a gold medal and call themselves the World Champions of 2022.
It's been a bit of a back and forth game. We saw Surly coming out with an early break, giving them some separation. But Relics now answering back with their own break in the second half. Surly wanting to take the time out to recollect themselves. They've already played on this pitch this morning. They have already also played against Relics. They did beat them earlier on, but Relics on paper are the favorites.
And a sliding grab from Viragay keeps the disc alive on the on the sideline. That looks like a miscue. One reset handler was going one way and the thrower thought he was going the other way, so Relics at the chance with another break here to take the lead. And there's that high release backhand, popping it into the end zone for a break from Relics, making the score 10-9.
I think if you were to do a tally on this pitch of the most common throw, the high release backhand is going to be, if not the top, at least very close to the top. It is so effective and powerful, particularly if you're trying to float it out onto the break side, because you can break the force so comfortably. You just have to do a quick step through, as you see here, and then the cutter onto the break side, setting it up perfectly. Relics pulling away. Surly have to answer now.
It's so important after you get that upwind break to then turn around and get the downwind break. If you don't get the downwind break after you've gotten the upwind break, you're making your life just a bit harder. So Relics in style doing just that, getting that important turnover right on the end zone line for the double break.
We've seen a slew of varying conditions throughout this entire game. It's not uncommon for Ireland. You will see 4 seasons within 40 minutes.
If you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes, as our fellow commentator Lorcan likes to say.
But even that's too long to wait sometimes.
Harder with the pull that will sit on the sideline just over the halfway mark. Alden with the disc in the middle. Hawk. Back to Alden. Oh, and a cheeky cut there from Eichstad will put the disc in the end zone for Surly.
That bid was so close, but not quite enough. There was some discussion from the players, but it's still been called a goal. Eichstadt with the cut set up perfectly for Alden. Alden not initially liking the options that he saw. Looking off that first cut, doing a 180 pivot all the way around. And then Eichstadt picking up the defender again.
And we were just chatting earlier about how these players must be absolutely haggard after this week-long play. The GGM pool having 10 teams coming into the tournament. So they had a full round robin with all 9 other teams. So a 9-game round robin, and then straight into semis with the top 4, which were actually all 4 top teams were American. And then a final. So, and they played their semis just this morning. So absolutely epic amount of effort from these great Grandmasters men.
Surly so far undefeated in the round robin. They were 9-0. They won their semi-final this morning, obviously putting them into this final. And Relics, their only loss being to Surly earlier on in the round robin.
Noonan now with the disc. Vasquio with the diving bid, but can't hold on to the disc. So Surly now with their chance to break. The players in this game often using the foul call instead of a contact call. So a contact call being one that would not stop play. They would just, the mark would just drop down to 0. A foul call stopping play. The contact is a newer, big, huge bid. Oh my goodness, what a dive. This, I think they're discussing whether he landed inbounds or potentially on the line. So on the line in Ultimate is out, but he did catch it inbounds. What a diving grab. Unbelievable.
My goodness, that was some incredible work. It almost looked like he'd slowed down, not anticipating the cut coming off, and then this huge bid did actually land slightly outside the end zone, but we're not allowed to make that call. That is up to everyone else on the pitch, and that score has been given. That is a huge point for Surly.
I mean, give him the point for that grab. What a fantastic grab. Great Grandmaster's age. I hope I can do that from when I'm that old. I mean, I'm pretty much almost there, so I definitely can't do it now. Holy.
I'm interested to see how Relics are going to respond. They are working in the less advantageous position. They're having to move upwind. And Surly do have that advantage. They are up in the score. All it takes is one error from Relics.
Here we are talking about getting that upwind break followed directly by a downwind break, so we'll see if Surly can do the same thing that Relics did just a few points ago.
And that pull setting them up in a fantastic position. They are in Callahan country.
Noonan and Vasquio playing a little pass back and forth. Schweitzer. Back to Noonan. And Vasquio again. Ooh, I thought we were going to see the backhand huck from Vasquio. Instead, he settles for a Switzer up the line. There's the huck. But it bounces out of the hands of the intended receiver. Wagner could not hold on to that, and he points at his chest as if to say, my bad, that's my bad.
Yeah, that's a hard disc to catch, even if you've got it in stride. Absolutely visionary shot. You're having to concentrate that extra second, making sure that you do have full grip and full position on it. So I'm not too surprised that that fell out the hands. A couple of players taking some injury substitutions.
Yeah, I love that look across the field, a cross-field yard-gaining huck. Beautiful put. Surly now with their chance for a second break. The wind and rain have died down actually just a little bit now.
It's almost beautiful outside. Almost.
If it weren't for the giant puddles surrounding us now.
Yeah, we have a river that suddenly collected itself. It's not the River Shannon. I'm not sure what we can call it. We should give it a name.
Well, you've discovered it, GG. We can call it the River GG.
No, no, no.
Okay, Surly now tapping the disc in. Eichstadt walking to pick up. Again, Relics offense or defense shutting down the first available pass, but Surly being patient and waiting for another option. A travel, I think, is going to be called on that, but
Some confusion about the travel call. They do have the opportunity to go to the game advisor for some extra clarification.
so in an earlier game today, I was saying that there's a continuation rule of the travel. If there's one more pass, then it would come back to the previous pass, but I was actually incorrect about that, and that actually, if it didn't affect the outcome of the play, it can stay as a turnover. So
Another foul has been called off the pass from Eichstadt.
McCall now with the disc in the middle. Yeah, that did look like a foul. Looked like he had to fight quite a bit to get the defender's arms off of him. So all in good spirits there, no contest.
Yeah, despite how heated things are, there are still smiles on the pitches, which is lovely to see. But another call will slow down the play.
It was a pick this time. Eichstadt. Another call. Possibly an offensive foul this time?
It's very difficult to tell. A lot of the American teams are using the WFDF hand signals, so we can't really tell what's happening sometimes.
Huge bid there from Daniel Francis, getting the disc back for Relic. Bryant managing to keep it in bounds. Naunan. Vasquio. And that was a bit of a, was that a bobble, Gigi?
No, that was a block. Foot block right in the way.
Nice. Love a good foot block. Eichstadt on that one. The disc went right behind one of the bystanders, so I didn't see it. I'm glad I got to see it on the replay. And right.
More calls happening.
Good spirit, though. Players clapping hands, helping each other up. You'd like to see that, especially from game as contentious as this one. Tom. Big flick huck from Tom, but can't find the receiver. So Relics with another chance again to hold.
I'd imagine that was a high pressure, high stall count flick, trying to gain some yards and make it more difficult for Relics to have to work it up the pitch. Surly wanting to rise the pressure, amp it up a bit more.
Schweitzer. Kneeling catch by Vasquio.
That looked like it was an offensive foul. Or a travel. We're seeing a hand signal from the game advisor on the far sideline, circling the fists around each other. We're hearing one of the Surly sideline players shout "Pussycat," so if anyone in the comments could let us know what "Pussycat" means, please do.
Great catch under pressure by Schweitzer.
This game has been a lot of back and forth in terms of stoppages. I'm not sure whether it's the intensity or the tired legs. It has been a long point from an already long tournament.
Oh, what a grab by number 4, Alan Harder.
Miscommunication on the deep shot. I thought that the receiver was going deep, but it does make it more difficult for Surly, I guess.
And it just goes to show these teams with so much experience, we know that they've played together for so long, but these miscommunications have to be a result of the tired factor that we're seeing. Surly having for their semi earlier today, they won 15-7, so a total of 22 points played this morning. Relics beating No Country 15-11 for a total of 26 points played earlier today, so that's a lot of points.
And as rosters start to dwindle, a lot of teams throughout the tournament are seeing injuries creeping in, knocking players out of contention. We see Don Tom has come off the pitch for an injury call, which is why this disc has taken a while to get into play. So that is an impressive hat from Stewart. Oh, it's headgear, it's head protection. I thought it was some sort of leather fashioned Slavic style hat.
That would be impressive. Surly playing a nice little tick-tock down the field like Relic know they like to. Hawk now at the disc. And a pick called downfield.
Both sides getting really close to each other, a little too close for contact.
Surly with the disc just outside the end zone. And punch it in for the score and another downwind break. Relics call with the double break and Surly answer with the double break.
You can hear the claps and the cheers on the sideline. I'd imagine that's a bunch of the other Surly players joining in, trying to get their team riled up for this next point. It must be so tough. We can say as much as we want in the commentary booth, but we are wrapped up in jackets under a tent, nice and cozy, and these players are having to absolutely grind. There is Cesario again, moving the disc well, Eichhardt into the end zone to number 34 of Hawk.
Yeah, there are actually 4 Surly clubs here, and so maybe they will chat with each other during this timeout, cheering on their teammates, and we'll take a little bit of a break as well and be right back. Welcome back to Limerick, where we're watching the final matchup in the Great Grandmasters Open Division, Surly GGM versus Relics. It's been a contentious game. It is 12-10 for Surly, who are currently up 2 breaks. Gigi, what do you think we have to see from Relics for them to get a bit more momentum going on their end?
Trying to maintain their clean and comfortable connections. So Relics know exactly what Surly wants in terms of giving like quick dicey passes, and I feel like that they could answer back with the same. We saw on the last point a lot of stoppages. I've lost count of how many stoppages there were. There were a fair few turnovers from both sides as well. Hopefully they can both clean up their play. A fair amount of picks. There was some discussion going on whether that was as a result of just tired legs or whether it was the stack remaining too close to each other. So again, that is hopefully something that they have had a quick discussion about during this timeout. Reset themselves, realign how they're going to play, and just be nice and clinical with it. But they've got a lot of hard work to do now, as Surly have a 2-point lead.
Relics picking it up. It looked like he just about shot it to a player running away from him. But a huge gainer across the pitch over to Naunan. Achenbach keeping that alive on the far sideline with a diving catch. Back to Naunan. Swings it across, finds Vasquio. And that high release backhand once again caught in the end zone by Robert Bryant.
Yeah, there were a couple of throws there that looked like they weren't going to go to the receiver. But again, the wind is playing that role where as soon as you release a slightly floatier disc onto, like, moving towards the low side, it starts to dive quickly. So one of those backhand shots that we see here, this is the one that I'm talking about. It just falls right into the receiver's hands. And then the around shot again, dying into the turf, but thankfully well picked up by the Relics receiver.
Seemed like that timeout did Relics a bit of good, as that was a really clean offensive point that we just saw from them. Only like 4 or 5 passes till the score happened. So maybe that will give them a bit of momentum, the momentum they need to tie this game up here with a break.
It's nice for the O-line because it's been a clean point for them, but obviously for the D-line, they've just been out grinding after that really long point, and they're having to now come back again against a really strong Surly O-line. I can see on their lineup they've got a couple of the playmakers that they usually try to pull out of the bag for points as important as this one.
Dan Powers with the pull again, who told me after this tournament he's taking a much-needed vacation to Greece with his wife. Who else other than Eichstadt to pick up for Surly? Relics shutting down the upfield options. And we have a call on the disc.
Seeing quite a lot of aggression and anger from Middlebrook. Maybe getting frustrated at Eichstadt.
I believe these two have been matched up against each other for most of the game, so that can happen sometimes if calls are made and continue to be made, and then emotions rise. So much on the line right now with the title, the championship, the world championship riding on the line.
So game advisor there to help provide some clarity of the rules. Their ruling, again, is not final. They are just there to help the players make a decision.
Relics stifling the downfield defense. I'm not sure what the call was there, but the play continues on. And I just have to give props to the entire Relic defense. If this is in fact a turn, That was like 30 seconds of downfield D that they are just putting all of that pressure on. And it's hard enough to play 10 seconds of D without letting your player get it.
Yeah, that is the power of team defense. It can really slow a team down. Eichstadt had 0 options coming to him.
Eichstadt again. Resets the disc to the sideline, back to the middle. Little give go. And a gainer just outside the end zone now with Hawk. Can they punch this in? Yes, they can. Eichstadt on his knees, getting very amped up by that point.
I'm not too surprised that he's getting really, really psyched and motivated. You can probably hear him from our field mics.
Surly now up 13-11.
But again, as you mentioned, Troy, absolute credit to the Relics defense. One thing I did notice is that Surly weren't looking to their dump as often. They had eyes for the downfield more than anything else. And from the commentary booth, that was a little bit frustrating because I'm wanting, particularly I'm a handler, so I'm trying to infuse how I would try and play something into other players. It's not the right thing to do, but I was wanting them to look for their dump options more often than they were, and that was exactly what Relics were shutting down. Because you saw Eichstadt was stuck on the sideline, as you mentioned, for 20, 30 seconds with no cuts being available or free. But just one little glance across to the dump might have shifted the momentum into a completely different way rather than amping up the intensity higher than it was.
Yeah, I'm a handler as well, actually, so I can completely sympathize with you on that point. There's your rolling pole that you wanted to see, Gigi. Just having all your wishes come true this game. Vasquio. And a high pass up the line to Seal stays in bounds. Back to Schweitzer. And a pick downfield.
Little high fives from the players. That's good to see. Change in attitude compared to the previous point.
Little dish pass back out to Schweitzer. Looking for the end zone, and that's going to be brought down just outside. Wagner taps it in for the goal.
The leading pass sat beautifully out to Wagner, and to be able to catch that one-handed under such pressure was so impressive. Relics must be very happy with that. You can see them hugging Wagner, giving lots of high fives. That backhand dish, hat falling off the top of the head, and in power position, the bid coming just outside the end zone. That was a beautiful catch.
Absolutely beautiful catch. Just that defender diving right in front of him. You must have to lose sight of the disc, and you're just putting your arm up and basically trusting that you can get that, really holding onto it, bringing it down with that confidence.
So as the score is at 13-12, we have just under 4 minutes now of game time. Games are 100 minutes long at WMUCC. Thank you very much to everyone joining in on the stream. Please do say hi to us in the live chat. We do have eyes on it as much as possible. We hope you are enjoying the coverage from the WFDF YouTube channel, produced by the Ulti TV crew.
(13-12) Surly still up 1 break. Relics will need a break to tie this up, and that's an upwind break as the wind does pick up, so it's going to be a bit of a battle for them. Surly moving the disc up, this time looking a bit more to their handlers for that help they need. Alden now with the disc. Into the hands of Rydell, and a bidding Relic player, but that will stay with the hands of Surly. Ridgely. Back to Agstad. Hawk. And again, back to Eichstadt. We're seeing a different matchup on Eichstadt now. Not surprising from the Relic players.
Yeah, that matchup was extremely intense. I'm not too surprised either.
Oh, what a grab! That had to be inches off the ground. What a grab! Insane!
Instantly called up. We do have a fair few players coming to our monitor just to make sure and get a quick look at that one again. Here comes the replay for the fans at home, for the fans on the sideline. The stall count was rising, but that backhand again, we are seeing that sit and fly down to the turf quickly. It has been called as a goal. It was very close.
It was down. It was down.
Einright with that score. Players on the sideline saying, having a bit of a conversation now whether it was up or down, but it looks like the score will stand.
I believe that there is a lot of emotion behind both of these teams. The players that were in the tent were from the Relic side. I will point out that we're calling it down. That is an extremely difficult call to make.
The pull is up. Relics needing the hold here. If Surly get this turn and break, then that is it. That is the game. So Relics bringing the disc up the field for a much needed hold. The game on the line. Naunen with the huge huck to the end zone. And that is going to be teed by Surly. Surly working up the way through diving players. There is a lot at stake now. Just outside the end zone. Can they punch this in? Disc is moving so quickly. Tom brings that down. Enright, back to Tom. Swinging it around. Rutledge finds Enright in the end zone for the score, and that's the game. Surly, the new great Grand Masters champions at the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships 2022, Limerick, Ireland. And that is the first world's title for the Surly Club from Minneapolis.
You know what? You said at the start of the game that Relics know how Surly plays. They love their quick movement, their give-go passes, they're jinking up the line, and that is exactly what they displayed, moving up closer towards the end zone. Don Tom on that save in the end zone. He has been my MVP of this match. He saved the possession, got the disc moving, helping them slice it into the end zone, giving Surly their first world's gold medal. Congratulations, Surly. Commiserations, Relics. That was a fantastic match.
That was absolutely stunning to watch. So many contentious calls, so many emotions on this field right now. We give our heartfelt congratulations to Surly and Relics for the silver medal as well. Nothing to be sad about there. That is a feat in and of itself. Thank you for watching. We really hope you enjoyed that game, brought to you by Copyright 2022 World Flying Disc Federation. This has been Troy Weston and GG taking you for a spin.
fáilte.tv.